just put mine on my car so I could get it from on.
I need this is like, yeah.
What's the better case?
I don't have any more. I only have
Oh, wait, I'm like, you know, I'm saying
They sell that lot where Chloe paid too. They're all still in cash.
doesn't know. Maybe sure.
Yeah.
June 21st. Gotcha.
All right, I want to call the meeting to order, please. Can we have a roll call? Councilmember Yancey? Here. Councilmember Miller? Here. Councilmember Hilliker?
Here.
Councilmember Turner?
Here.
Councilmember Raines?
Here.
Councilmember Vickers?
Here.
Councilmember Dawson?
Here.
Councilmember Draper? Mayor? Here. Not here. Okay, can we stand for the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please humble our hearts, help our minds, and let us walk forward into the light. Amen.
Yeah.
Meeting minutes from City Council meeting March 23rd, 2026. The mayor called the meeting to order at 6:02 PM. Roll call was taken. All council members were present. The mayor, recorder treasurer, and the city attorney were also present. All stood for the pledge of allegiance, and the mayor performed the invocation prayer. The meeting minutes from the city council meeting February 23rd, 2026 were read by the recorder treasurer. Motion to accept the minutes was made by Councilmember Miller and seconded by Councilmember Hilliker. Minutes were approved by voice vote. Treasurer's report. The recorder treasurer commented on revenues versus expenditures. He also mentions that money would be transferred to the Parks and Recreation Reserves Fund before the end of the month. A motion to accept the treasurer's report was made by Councilmember Raines and seconded by Councilmember Miller. The report was approved unanimously by roll call vote. Committee reports. Motion to accept committee reports was made by Councilmember Hilliker and seconded by Councilmember Turner. The reports were approved unanimously by roll call vote. Old business. Community Center rental. A proposed fee schedule for use of the community center was presented. The motion was made by Councilmember Draper and seconded by Councilmember Miller to approve the fee schedule. The motion passed unanimously by roll call vote. Loft lease. A request for proposals had been advertised in the newspaper and on the city Facebook page. There was one interested party. Proposed lease agreement for the loft was presented as part of the council packet. A motion was made by Councilmember Hilliker and seconded by Councilmember Turner to accept the proposed lease. The motion passed with 7 votes. Councilmember Dawson abstained. New business. Building committee nominee. The nominating committee presented Bill Vanderpass as their nominee for a building committee vacancy. The motion was made by Councilmember Dawson and seconded by Councilmember Miller to approve him for the position. The motion passed unanimously by roll call vote. Mayor issues. The mayor brought up the contracts for roof repairs. He stated that the contract he signed did not call for most of the payment up front. The mayor was asked how he was able to sign these roof contracts without council approval and why there was no bid process. The city attorney agreed that the bid process by state statute requires a sealed bid process for dollar amounts exceeding $50,000. He also stated that the mayor was allowed to sign contracts, but those were limited to a maximum of $1,000. Public comments. There was a question as to what committees had vacancies. Carol Spencer asked why there was $127,000 deficit in the 2025 end-of-year report. The recorder treasurer explained that this was because insurance money that was received in 2024 was errantly entered as revenue. Revenue does not carry over to the next year, so the actual payments to the roofing contract came out of the 2026 budget. June Howard stated that the city needs a place for seniors and youth to gather where there is no drinking. The community center was suggested. Dan Robinson reported that revenues at the pro shop are up 260% over 2025. He stated that this is pro shop income and separate from the fee which is collected at City Hall. Carol Spencer stated that she thought the city had paid Parks and Rec too much. Recorded treasurer said he would check into it. She also asked if water being pumped from the lake to water the golf course should be limited. Chris Miller stated that the water pumped to the golf course circulates back through filtering to the lake. A question was asked about the old water towers and whether they could be repurposed. Councilmember Dawson didn't think so. Councilmember Miller mentioned that a resident had cautioned that if the city failed to respond to a call and someone was bitten by an animal, as a result, the city might be liable. Mr. Sipe asked him to summarize the situation in an email. A motion to adjourn was made by Councilmember Hilliker and seconded by Councilmember Miller. The motion was approved by voice vote. The meeting adjourned at 7:22 p.m.
Okay, any comments, changes?
Revenue at the golf course is up 260%.
He sure is.
Yeah, that's not the only one.
Okay.
So these,
Could be.
any other comments or suggestions, questions?
Pro shop revenue and golf course
Come
revenue
right up here if you're on top, please.
are two different things.
Come right up here and talk.
I just,
Are we talking profit or revenue?
revenue,
Okay, let's not profit.
profit on. I have a general ledger report for the first quarter of 24, 25, and 26. You're more than welcome to look at it and you'll clearly see that everything is up. Everything.
Could we put, I FOIA that, but. I can't-
Absolutely. You don't have to FOIA. I can just give it to you.
I can't get a FOIA answered.
I'll print it out for you after this meeting and give it to you. I have no problems with that.
Okay,
Okay.
Heard
I did, I heard it,
Well, there's a lot of FOIAs that aren't being answered,
a lot.
and that's ridiculous. We have a whole folder full of them. I understand exactly what you're saying. And a lot of this information is available. When you go back to the original source, find out that this information is there.
I have no problems sharing the information.
I know, but I shouldn't have to go to you. I mean, I FOIA the clerk. I mean, I would, but you've got a job to do. You shouldn't be answering my
It takes me
FOIA.
2 seconds to answer, to print out a general ledger report. You tell me the dates, I'll put it in, I'll hit, custom.
So everybody should just come to you for a FOIA for Parks and Rec? I mean, because I did that last year and you told me to go to him. So I mean, I'm getting bounced back here, so tell me this process and I just want my stuff answered.
If you want a general ledger report based on revenue for any quarter or any month or any day or whatever, please come to me and I'll print it out for you.
Okay.
It's not an issue.
Bill, why does he have access to the general ledger?
The pro shop, why wouldn't he have access to the general ledger for the pro
I thought
shop?
the treasurer was responsible for the general ledger.
I think he's just talking the golf
We're
now.
talking just,
the golf
he's just
now,
talking about the golf course.
Just the golf
pro
now
shop.
machine piece, maybe, and not the
It just
whole,
gets printed out by the Golf Now system.
and not the whole city general ledger. I
Okay.
don't know.
Moving along.
Okay.
Can I make a motion?
I didn't either.
Okay, we do have a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Brian makes the second.
Sheila already had it. Sheila.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Yancey,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliker,
Yes.
Councilmember Turner,
Yes.
Councilmember Raines,
Yes.
Councilmember Vickers, Councilmember Dawson.
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are accepted. Treasurer's report.
So I'll just make the same comments I made at finance. The revenue expenses are almost identical, just a little light on the revenue side.
By
Might
how
be
much is a little?
3,000 out of a total of 118, so. It was more the month before, so it's, and that could be the declining sales tax, I don't know. I mean,
You don't.
one month in a row is not a pattern, Mitzi, I'm sorry, I can't tell you.
Well, if you don't know, who does?
Well, God almighty, I guess.
All right, so it's your report's in here, people who get copies of it.
Yes, absolutely. It's always posted on there the day after council meeting.
Okay, so to be posted in the hallway if you want to see it tomorrow. Sorry, any other things on the treasurer's report?
I think other than, true to fact, we did put $250,000 into reserve fund for Parks and Rec, so we already had the account, we just didn't have any money, and now we do, so.
Where did you get the money?
From the Parks and Rec, $12 a month. We basically collected the fees and whatever other places we get the money, some comes from the city. And that balance, we needed to see the end of the year to make sure we could afford to put the reserves in like we could, and we could, so we did. So, because that would be the first place to cut if we didn't have enough money, is the reserves.
Well,
So,
how come it low? How come the Parks and low, it's lower money and you had to get extra money?
I don't understand the question.
It had excess.
It was already in the
Yeah.
budget, we just hadn't moved the money into the account until we were sure we had it.
I'm kind of hard of hearing here.
That's okay. You understand what, okay, so we have the fund was growing with the fees and so on and so forth, but this is our first year doing it. We didn't know. The budget said we were going to have reserves, but you don't know until you're actually at the end of the year whether you're really going to have reserves. And fortunately, we were right. We did have reserves to put in. So we put that $250,000 and we had nearly $250,000 left at that point. So.
Okay, any other things about the treasurer's report?
So I-
Any comments, changes, suggestions about the treasurer's report? Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Yancey,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliker,
Yes.
Councilmember Turner,
Yes.
Councilmember Raines,
Yes.
Councilmember Rickers,
Yeah.
Councilmember Dawson.
Yes.
Okay, treasurer's report is accepted. Committee reports. Did everybody have a chance to look at the committee reports? Any comments or suggestions about the committee reports? Okay, I have a one FYI for the committee reports, and that's on the recycling center. Who knows why this is happening, but anyways, the processing of plastic, which we bale, I think our bales are around 300-400 pounds of plastic. We use the smaller baler. 7 of the plastic processing centers in the US have shut down. The remaining plastic centers are actually buying cheaper plastic from overseas. We're actually bringing plastic into the country to reprocess it. So this has created a huge problem for the market. Our distributor that buys our plastic from us is looking for alternative sources and ways to move it. What they've suggested is that we continue to bale it, set it, and hopefully the market is either going to come back or come up with alternative sources. The wildest thing I've seen is them actually melting water bottles and making bricks out of it. And people are actually making houses out of plastic now. But anyways, just so you know, there may be an issue. And if it becomes a serious issue where we can't move it, we'll actually have to announce to the general public that we cannot take plastics. And that's all plastics, even the class 2 and 3 heavy duty plastics, not just the light water bottles that right now the market is drawing up there. And of course, with the price of diesel fuel, it becomes non-viable to pick the stuff up.
You might want to tell them they used to ship it to China now, China ship it to us.
Right. I can't believe that we can buy plastic cheaper from some other country, shipping it in here.
That's how we used to get rid of it. We'd sell it, and ship it overseas.
You know, they're shipping it back to us. Anyways, that may be an issue in the future for the recycling center, as far as revenue. Any other questions or comments on the committee reports?
Make a motion to accept many reports.
Okay,
Second.
who seconded it? Donnie made the motion.
Okay, I think we're two simultaneous, but that's fine.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting the committee reports, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, say the same. Committee reports are accepted. Old business, I don't see any listed here. Is there any old business people want to bring up? Okay. Moving on to new business. Oh, I see one there. Here's our computer guys, okay. Cybersecurity, blue IT guys. Hey, who wants to be the victim? You can come right up. and
Okay, yeah,
Talk on that microphone right here. This is
Okay.
Jason.
Mayor, we have just a small presentation. We'd like to set a projector up if we could,
Sure.
right here, and then I'll just go ahead and kind of fill everybody
Button right
in.
there
So
with a stem. You can-
this right here.
Right. There you go.
Oh, now I'm amplified.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so my name is Jason Chamberlain. I'm with Blue Guys IT. I've got Justin with me here. We are one of the vetted members of the Municipal League as a cybersecurity provider, and we have provided cybersecurity services for the city of Horseshoe Bend since March 1st of 2023. In that time period, we have closed I think somewhere around 160 help desk tickets. We back up the city's computer. We also provide internet filtering and a cloud firewall that is monitored by a security operations center that's based in Denver. The city has cybersecurity that is at the same level of cities that are 10 times and even 20 times the size of Horseshoe Bend. Due to the contracts that we have with much larger cities, we were able to envelop services to make that affordable for the city of Horseshoe Bend. So we're very proud of that fact. The laws are changing. There's new legislation, and there are certain things that cities in Arkansas need to be made aware of. And so while we were approved at that first council meeting 3 years ago, we found it necessary to come back today and fill you guys in on what's going on with the changes and some of the things that we're having to do now for cities that we didn't have to do before. And that's what this presentation is about. First off, every city in Arkansas has to have a .gov for their email and their website by January 1, 2027. That's every city, going down to our smallest city is Omaha, Arkansas, outside of Harrison, that has 1 computer and 88 people. And I think about 3,000 cows, but they only have 88 people. So every city has to have that .gov. Cities that are above 10,000 in population have to have that by June 1st, 26. Good news, we put that into place over a year ago. The city of Horseshoe Bend already has a .gov, and so they are operating under that for their email. We did have one cyber incident this year that was avoided by our software, and we're proud to say that a fictitious spam email that was clicked on that was a virus that would have shut the city down and every computer in it did not, because of the software that we had in place. So we're proud of that. These things do happen. We see them happen in every city that we provide service to. Now I'm running out of words to say, Justin.
I'm almost there.
I'm putting him on the spot. Before I get into the cyber insurance that's provided by the property program. The property program does, is everybody familiar with the property program? Okay, the property program from the state, pooled insurance, right? These guys could probably explain a little bit better than I could, but you are in the property program. Okay, and what does that afford you? What does the property program afford you guys?
As far as cybersecurity, I don't know.
No, just not as far as cybersecurity, just in
And
general.
it's our damage to buildings and damage to vehicles.
And pooled insurance, right?
Right.
Right, okay. So they added an addendum to the property program that gives the cities of Arkansas $100,000 of free. Nothing's really free. I'll tell you what the catch is in a second, but $100,000 of free cyber insurance in the case of a breach. Now, in order to be approved for that cyber insurance, there was a cyber response board was put together, and the law went into effect in 2023 that every city needed to be doing 5 things. Okay, and those 5 things are backup, patch management, of course, some type of antivirus. Okay, security awareness training, and I'm missing the 5th one. Backup. I said backup, patch management. And some type of internet filtering. Okay, which we've been doing since 23. And you would be surprised at how many cities we presented to that aren't doing those 5 things. And so if they do succumb to a breach, they're going to be denied any claim to that $100,000. Now, $100,000 is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things for a cyber attack, but we feel like for cities that your size that it's probably sufficient. But it's not a bad idea to call somebody in and look at maybe some additional cyber insurance. And we have some, we can give you recommendations. We do not sell cyber insurance, but we can give you recommendations into the top 5 providers. So is there any way to cut like half the lights off in here?
Yes, right here.
Whoa. Okay, we're gonna watch a movie. All right. So this is our, we've been presenting to about 2 cities a week. This is a really big year, an opportunity for us because of the compliance and legal and the regulations now for every city that require these things. And so we've been working with, very closely with Little Rock, and that is basically just a blurb about the cyber response board, but also what's going on in cybersecurity. So you guys probably can't see that very well, can you?
No, I don't have any problem.
Go back on it. Can you see that? Can you see that at all?
No, I can't read it.
Okay. So
Bring it back a little up.
it's gonna, everybody look up. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna focus that in just a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna hold this as steady as I can. Fraudulent transactions. This is legislative audit. Okay. And so I'm sorry, spam or phishing attacks. Gone from 1 to 26 to 41. Okay. This is legislative audits numbers. These are just reported. Okay, there's evidence that it could be 10 times this, but this is actually from Legislative Audit's website. You can see a very alarming problem there from 22 to 23 to 24, what's going on with phishing attacks. It was a phishing attack that came in email to one of the city of Horseshoe Bend's email accounts. Also, I'm not gonna hold this the whole time because I think once we get to the next slide, they'll be able to see it. So phishing attacks, malware attacks have gone from 2 to 3 to 8. And then business email compromise, and we're seeing a lot of what they call a BEC, or business email compromise, has gone from 1 to 0 to 9. So the reason why I show that is just to show you that these are cities in Arkansas. I don't know if that was set up there. These are cities in Arkansas. Don't breathe on it. That this has happened to. Okay. And so because of this, a lot of people say, why the .gov? This is a pain in the butt. We got to switch over, which it's already been done, so you don't have to worry about that. But a lot of cities are kicking back about it. Anybody can sign up for a .com. Okay, any one of us can go to GoDaddy and we can sign up for a .com. I can sign up for City of Horseshoe Bend, ARK.com if it's available, and begin to impersonate Mayor Dallaire. But with the .gov, you can't do that. And so we had to go through, we worked with the city. This has been well over a year ago. We worked with the city to apply to the federal government for that .gov. The city was granted, of course, because it's eligible. And then we got it. So, but the Arkansas Act 846 of 2023 created this self-funded cyber response program. Arkansas municipalities are required to participate in the program, which provides coverage for damages, losses caused by a cyber attack committed against a participating government entity. So, good news, you guys already have that, okay? So we'll go on to the next slide. Quick. So what are those standards? And I just kind of mentioned them. The multi-factor authentication, actually I think I skipped that. Data backup, cybersecurity awareness training, password standards, and patch management. We're doing all of those things, okay? But there's an amendment, and each year, this is gonna get harder and tougher, especially with what just happened last month with, I'm gonna talk about what happened with the Stryker Corporation, if you happen to see that the attack on them. So go to the next slide. So we're gonna give you a copy of this so you'll have it, but the Cyber Response Board came out with their good, better, and best recommendations. And so basically, when you're talking about cybersecurity, we align with the Center for Internet Security, okay, which is a nonprofit organization of professional cybersecurity individuals that put together a list of controls called the CIS controls. This is follow all 19 of these and you'll be cyber secure, okay? So they ask that you align, the state asks that we align to the CIS controls. And so that's something that we're doing, but we provide every single one of these protections for the city already, okay? You can go to the next one. This was about the .gov mandate, and I've kind of already explained that. The cyber threats that we are seeing, phishing, ransomware, malware, data breaches, software vulnerabilities. Don't click on links. We say that, verify. The email that came into the city was actually a neighboring town, a business from a neighboring town. It looked legit, but it was a hacked account. Okay, so you can't always trust that, hey, I know this person or whatever. And then social engineering. Just the other day, we had a client, somebody called them and said, this is Entergy, owe us $400, or we're going to shut your lights off. And it was a doctor's office. And so they paid the $400. It was not Entergy. So even answering the phone, you guys. So at the city, you got to know who you're talking to. So this is just a sales slide, really, but it's really important that, and to reiterate, just because we're small town Arkansas doesn't mean that we're not a target. Okay, so lots of untargeted attacks happen all the time. These are these phishing emails, just like the one that came in earlier this year. So next slide. Some recent cyber attacks in Arkansas, and like I said, I am just kind of blowing through this because I'm trying to sell to a city that I've already sold to. Okay, so, but hopefully you guys still trust us in what we're doing. Recent cyber attacks in Arkansas, so these are happening in our backyard. And then the next one. So last month, Stryker Corporation, Healthcare Corporation, the Iranian hacktivist group Handala, which is one of the top 6 hacktivist groups right now, actually hacked into Stryker Healthcare and wiped 80,000 of their computers globally. Anybody hear about that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, wiped 80,000 computers, okay? Microsoft, that shouldn't allow to happen to begin with. So many red flags and so many issues with this, it's not even funny. But nevertheless, it happened. And so about a week after that, CISA, which is the federal, this is where you get your .gov, is from CISA. That's the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. It's a federal organization. In Arkansas, there are 2 representatives for CISA, okay? We are in Region 6 for CISA. There are 5 states: Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Louisiana. We are in Region 6 for CISA, okay? So CISA, immediately after the Stryker thing, they came out with, 1 week later, they came out with recommendations, because this is Microsoft 365. Everybody uses Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but Microsoft 365 is so much more than that. It's a management platform in the cloud, and it gives you the ability to manage computers even to the point of wiping them. Okay, so this 365 is so much more than just those apps. And so the city's computers are connected to these. Could someone get in, log in, and remotely wipe the city's computers? They could, but Intune is basically the program in Microsoft 365, and they made a lot of changes. The federal government's had a lot of pressure on Microsoft, and they came out with 66 policies to put in place. One of those is called privileged identity management. It's the theory of having to have 2 keys to launch a rocket, okay? Now you have to have 2 admins. We went ahead and set this up for the city of Horseshoe Bend, because what's happening is this is no longer about money. This is no longer about ransomware. This is cyber warfare. These people are not playing, and they'll do whatever it takes to take out any water system, anything. And this was for no money. They did not ask for any money. They wiped 80,000 computers to send a message. And so, very important that we are following the latest controls, the latest guidelines. The little city of Horseshoe Bend that you love so much, and I love my mountain home, and I'm not much bigger, but we have to put all of these things in place that corporations are putting in place, because they'll wipe you just like they'll wipe anybody else. Does not matter. And anywhere they can get into, that's what they're going to do. They're going to wreak havoc. And so we have to put these things in place. Next slide. So best practices for cybersecurity. Again, this is just a sales pitch, sales thing, but we talk about this all the time. I want to key in software and hardware updates. We update the computers all the time. Location-based access. What is that? We install a firewall on every city computer that basically only allows that computer to access Microsoft 365. Now, most of you could go anywhere in the world and log into your Gmail account from any computer. Not so with these guys. They cannot log in unless they are on a device that has our firewall on them. That's how serious we are about it. Okay, next slide. So our solution, and I'm going to blow through this because this is, we protect this city and every city we protect in Arkansas with 3 tools. Number 1 is our firewall. In cyber insurance, in legislation, in all the new rules and regulations, in healthcare, and in the new HIPAA 2.0, all of this stuff, they're all calling for more cybersecurity, and they're calling for 3 things: SOC, SIEM, EDR. I'm going to explain that. SOC is Security Operations Center, SOC. It's somebody that's monitoring your stuff 24/7, 365. We got a call from the city of Bella Vista on a Sunday night at 7 p.m. Someone's trying to get into your system. These guys, they're on their daylight when we're dark. Okay, they're operating when we're sleeping. Okay, so we have to have stuff. We have to have eyes on it all the time. SIEM, Security Incident Event Monitoring, SIEM. It is a log of everything that this computer is doing. It's a crime scene. So if you can go back to the crime scene, I tell people, then you can uncover the actual crime. If you can't go back to the crime scene, it's hard to tell what happened. in the case of a cyber attack and in a breach, the breach coach that you'll talk to, that whoever talks to, or the attorney, the very first thing says, were you logging? Were you logging? And that's what they mean, scene logging. The last thing is EDR. Antiviruses are not good enough anymore. Endpoint detection and response, or EDR. Okay, so we install the same thing that the United States Air Force and Navy use. It's a product that's called Elastic Security. It used to be called Endgame. And the federal government has contracts with this company that we have this same security. And I'll tell you, it beats the pants off of Norton or McAfee. Okay. It's a joke there. Okay, next slide. So the Arkansas Cyber Response Board recommendations, our firewall covers 14 out of the 28 of them. Then the next slide. Remote management, that's what we do to remotely work on the computer, okay? So we don't have to come over here, although is the Chinese places they go out of business? Are they something else now?
They're still full.
Man, I came over here just to have sweet and sour chicken at that place. I thought they were pretty good, but anyway, so we do everything remotely. We work with cities across the state. We don't have to show up and do any of this stuff. We do it all remotely. And so that's our RMM. And if you'll hit the next one, that covers 3. We do patch management through that, and we do backup through that. And that's 2 of those Cyber Response Board requirements. The next one is Microsoft 365 for government. And it's important not to be on a business level of 365, but to be on Microsoft 365 for government. Because it is CGIS compliant, it's FedRAMP compliant, and all those other compliances that you have to have. Now, a lot of you guys, you've probably been using AI, ChatGPT, right? Has anybody used Copilot? Okay, we put Copilot in for a couple. Are you using it, Bill?
I have it. I haven't used it a lot.
You haven't used it a lot. Okay. So if you're not familiar with AI or ChatGPT or Copilot, it's an assistant. It helps you do a lot of things. It helps you write emails, it helps you respond to emails, it helps you create documents. You can just give it one line, say, I want an ordinance for this, and it'll make the ordinance. Then you can go back and edit it. It's been in the news a lot for being wrong sometimes, which is a little scary. Okay, so there's something called the human in the loop. So it'll get you 80% there, but you've got to fact check it. You got to be that extra. You got to be that 20%. We service, sell, support Microsoft Copilot within the 365 environment because it's compliant. You do not want, as a city, to be using these third-party free AI tools to do any city business. And so if you're going to use AI, you've got to use Copilot this way, okay, for all of the compliance. So, and then this is something I talked earlier about Microsoft 365, securing it as well. About a year ago, we had an email thing that happened with the city where we had to pull up a bunch of old emails. We went ahead and put in a 7-year email, OneDrive, and SharePoint retention policy for the city at no additional charge at that time. What that allowed you guys to do, and what it allows the city to do, is that on every one of the top of their emails, it says that there's a 7-year retention policy, so it keeps people honest, okay? And for any files that are saved in SharePoint or OneDrive, essentially all the files on the computer. So if you delete a file today, I'll keep picking on Bill, but if Bill deletes a file today, 7 years from now, we can recover it. Okay, and we can do the same with email. So very important, and that's a 7-year retention policy. So go on to the next one. So Microsoft 365 is pricier. Okay, the government version is pricier. So this is part of the sales slide, and then the next slide, Secure DNS. That's that. So their internet's filtered. So the internet's filtered here on all the servers, on all the computers, so that, hopefully just by filtering that, we usually, the general percentage is we block 99% of the bugs just with that filtering. So, and the next side, we've already done the transition, so we don't have to do that. That covers all of them except for a couple of policies, and so I'm gonna talk about that next. You guys need a couple of those policies. And then the next one, we have changed our plans up. That's why I'm here today. We got to a point where we're working with the municipal league. We're trying to make this as affordable as it can for cities with all the tools that we've had to add. And we have added some stuff to the point where some of it's been no cost. We are out of contract right now with the city. I believe it was in January when it went out of contract. So of course, we're still supporting the city, but we are having to go up a little bit in pricing. So going to the next one. And thank you. Okay. All right. So the city right now is paying $732 a month for our services, which we feel is a great value already. In the last year, we did open and close 121 tickets. So we do about 5 help desk tickets a week for the city. And so our quote is going up about $400 so a month. So from 732, I believe a little less than that, maybe 1099. So, yeah. Also, yeah, go ahead.
There was a hack situation in October, as 24, and I was actually named as the hacker, and I was assured that you would be here at some point to explain this, and I've been waiting for ever since then for you guys to show up and to.
Yes. Yes.
And
I was
there-
gonna ask the
yeah.
same question,
And
what's
there's
the
been-
resolution?
Yeah, there's been no evidence whatsoever that I've done anything wrong, yet there's been nothing, and so I was hoping that you would,
Okay. So I believe you were
actually,
the,
my account was, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's totally fine.
My
It's
personal
so,
account was actually compromised minutes after you gave Denise the credentials to the computer.
I know exactly what happened in that. I know exactly what happened. And so in that case, there was a piece of software on that computer
I
that,
didn't vote on it.
no, that was compromised. We got a report that piece of software, that it was a personal piece of software.
But I didn't load it on there.
I don't know how it got loaded on there, but
Okay.
that password was compromised. We called to let the city know that happened, and that's when the position, I think you were,
The
At
report treasurer.
at that time, you were leaving though, right?
I wasn't leaving. I didn't leave until you guys delivered the computer and the mayor decided, the same day you delivered it, the mayor took it. And so I wasn't working. I couldn't work without a computer, and
Well, the only reason why we were called in is because the position had changed, and we were to take that computer and wipe it and get it ready for the next person. That's all we were told.
yeah, so, but I was told you had finger, keystroke, detail, and.
Guys,
and
it's important. It's okay. You've got to understand.
I mean, it's not. a
You were
deal.
accused of something?
Yes, the mayor said that I hacked the computer system of the city. And that I
Was
caused,
there a hack?
Is that why you were released?
I wasn't released at all. I quit.
Okay,
But, and it was after that he said that it was October that he announced that there was a hack.
Okay.
Then he approved my computer purchase. Then
okay.
he took the computer, and then
Okay.
I quit. Then he announced that I was the culprit of the hack in a public meeting, and never gave me any ability to say whether or not, to explain or find out what happened.
Okay.
And I've asked you guys and he says you didn't have to respond to my FOIA because I didn't work for the city.
Okay,
And then so Bill's tried to get information from you. And I put some sort of a timeline together, and, I could tell where, you guys got credentials from Denise, and Denise used those credentials to sign on to the computer.
what is your name?
My name's Amberly.
Okay,
Martin.
okay.
And where Denise used those credentials after I already left,
Okay,
And she downloaded Discord onto a city computer and used my credentials and logged on because it was.
it was Discord.
Yeah.
It was Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it was not during my tenure when I was here. It was.
The only thing that we were told, Amberly, and this is, this is what we were told. We were told that there was a new person coming in for this computer and that we needed to wipe it.
And why would
Okay.
you wipe it? Because, I mean, he was coming in to do the job that I've been doing. I mean, he didn't need a wiped computer. I mean, at all. I mean,
they're told to do it, they just.
yeah, and I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
I think that they were trying to, I mean, I don't understand. There was also a lot of email information that appears to be missing, a lot of emails that were gone.
The reason why I did not, and the reason why I didn't respond to those FOIA requests is because we don't take FOIA requests. Just like this gentleman said here before, FOIA requests go through the city.
That's,
Okay, and so we're a third party that provides, okay? Now, the SEAM logging that we do, okay, we cooperate with the city, but the SEAM logging that we do, and if you look at those 28 things, that's what we're doing for the city, okay? We're not cyber detectives.
well, you
We
provided
don't-
an asset report that I looked at.
We don't
for
come
March.
in, huh?
You provided the asset report for March, and so I looked at that, and it had been logged in with my credentials
Yes,
onto the city, I mean,
it had to be logged in. It had to be logged in with your credentials in order to reset everything.
no, my accounts, because you've gone through the browser, okay, it was a browser issue.
Mhm.
Because my personal information was in the browser, because I didn't have a chance to log out. So when he had mirrored the computer,
Uh-huh,
it was still on there, and they never took that off. And so that was what she was able to use when she downloaded Discord, and then she got my password in.
why was Discord put on the computer?
It wasn't until she downloaded off of
Who's she?
Denise. I downloaded off of the
Jason.
browser.
Yeah, I got you.
And Jason knew
I
that.
don't know how this is getting twisted the way it is, but what we asked you to do was to take any personal information that was on that computer and clean that. None of the government stuff whatsoever, and
Yeah.
that's what you did. And
Yeah.
when they
It's
downloaded-
proper, it's procedure.
When
And
you
they should've.
downloaded the personal information, Discord was on there.
Yeah.
Denise never put it on there. It was on that computer, physically on there.
Yeah,
And you gave us a list of that stuff. And I don't know if that's what she's talking about, but Discord and everything was
Yeah.
on
Okay,
there.
on the browser, it would pop up, and I was on the phone with the guy you were talking about,
Kristen?
Yeah, I was on the phone with him one time, and it popped up, and he said, "Oh, do you want me to get rid of that?" And I said, "Well, it's annoying," and so he knew it was there, but he knew I never logged into it, so he just left it. So later, after I left, I guess it popped up when Denise logged in, and she actually clicked on it and downloaded it, so it actually downloaded the software to the computer, but it was never downloaded while I was there at all. It was just like one of those, like you could download it, it was a pop-up.
okay,
So she downloaded it after, it had never been downloaded on the city computer anytime when I was
Okay.
there.
okay,
And not only downloaded, but downloaded and logged in with my credentials.
okay. So just so you know, we didn't accuse you of anything.
I know you did it.
Yeah,
He
so
did.
I didn't accuse you of anything. We were just asked, but it's common procedure for us to wipe the computer because all of the government data is in the cloud,
The
okay?
computer was
So,
white.
yeah,
It hasn't been white.
huh?
It hasn't been white. I mean, because it was mirrored, and then he mirrored it again. So there were two computers, and so you should have wiped both of them, and that didn't happen. So my information has been compromised since that time. Because I can.
I think
walk
you
you
should
through it.
look at what you actually did, Jason, and you can give us a report on it, because I
Yeah.
know what you did and
I'll walk
you
you
know
through
what we
it.
did.
I mean, I talked to
it's
the
not
chairman,
what's
I can tell you what happened with them.
Yeah, so if you have a computer that's city owned, okay? And this is when we're going to talk about policies, because you are supposed to have as a city an incident response policy, an AI policy, but also to have a policy in case something like this happens, okay? And it's called acceptable use. Acceptable use says that on a government computer, you are not to install anything other than the software that is on the computer, right?
Nothing personal.
And nothing personal, okay?
Right.
Yeah, and so when the computer came to us and we saw that it had that on there, that's when we made the decision. But I'm not familiar with this mirroring thing. We don't mirror computers.
When they brought the new computer for the recorder treasurer, they had mirrored it, I mean, because they even changed my phone number as the second, you
We
know.
don't mirror computers.
None of that stuff was done.
This-
Let's move on, and if you have issues, you can talk with Jason afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
Could I ask a
He
question?
bought a new computer and he mirrored it, I mean, he mirrored the, it's like.
Who's he?
Christoph.
Who's he?
Yeah, we don't mirror computers. We do not mirror computers. I haven't mirrored a computer since the 90s.
Okay, well, maybe I'm using the term wrong, but I'm sure that it's,
We would not mirror computer.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
You said that you have a SIEM policy, that's SIEM.
that's correct.
That's the one you said would bring it back to the crime scene.
Yes.
And could that bring you back to where that personal stuff was put on that particular computer? Just a
So-
question, I don't know.
So absolutely. But that right now is out of the retention policy because of the time period that it's been,
Okay,
it's 90 days.
I'm just trying to make sure I understood what you said.
Now, I
SIEM,
will-
mentioned. I want to make sure.
Okay, so there is seam logging is a ton of data. Okay, as you can imagine, it's everything that the person does, but it's everything the computer does. Okay, so the seam log is like 1 million events for the city of Horseshoe Bend a week. It's 1 million events. It's a lot of events. And so that seam retention is only set at 90 days. Now, I will say, as we are increasing every city to 1 year retention now, because sometimes it takes a little bit more than 30 days, but because this is outside of that scope, I don't remember when this happened. When did this all?
Is that,
November of 2024.
November 2020.
is that part of the reason that there's an increase in what we pay per month is because you have to have a greater storage of a whole
Yes,
year instead of?
Yes, so
Okay.
we're adding the 7-year retention policy. We're also adding 1 year for the seam,
1 year receipt.
1 year.
That's
So
what I
we'll
was
be able to
wondering.
go back 1 year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So with all the security in place when we had our hack with the water department
When was that?
last year, I believe, Mayor Delaire said our water department computer was hacked into, exposing all of our information. So I would assume that that would have been investigated by Blue Bolt IT.
What is
Did
it?
I do that one too?
I don't think that was what we were talking about at all. We were talking about someone had gone on and changed the payment structure for an account.
You said it was quote as a
Stuff.
hack.
Well, maybe that's the word I used. You know how proficient I am in computers, which is hysterical when somebody says I mirrored a computer. I just barely know how to turn them on and do email. So I don't think I mirrored anything. And
So there was not a hack.
they did look into that in terms of it was done in-house. It wasn't a computer from outside. But things were changed on the account.
Oh, you're talking about, okay, so I'm the owner. I'm not the tech. I don't look at the tickets. I don't see the tickets. Okay, so to be frank with you, I might have to go back and look, but something he said kind of helped me remember something. There was an attempt at logging into a system, an email address for the water department, and it was blocked. But it was on, and there was a ticket open on our end. And maybe that's what you're referring to. But if you want to find out like the exact date and time, I can go back and look and see what it was, what we opened and what we had to do. So,
I've got another question. You said that the law is going to require a double administrator to make changes. Is that correct? That's part of the,
that is not part of the law.
okay.
Okay, the legislation right now requires the 5 things. The Cyber Response Board requires 5 things for your property program insurance, okay? But it also is required that the city do those 5 things, right? There is a change. I've been talking to Jeff Melton, which is Information Security Officer for the Arkansas Municipal League, and they already have a revision 2 for that. And it's gonna add, they're just gonna keep adding more requirements
Right.
year after year. And so, but there's some things that we do that are over and above anything else to prevent anything like that from happening.
Okay.
And that's one of those things.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other questions?
I do have a question.
Okay,
So going forward, as far as downloading any software onto computers for the city, are you have in place now security where they can't download like Facebook and Discord and all this other stuff?
yeah, so the problem is, and a lot of times when someone installs software through different methods, right? There's a lot of different ways to download and install stuff. You can install stuff off of a share file, you can go to Dropbox and install it. So
Okay.
while we have a lot of blocks in place to prevent stuff like that,
Mhm.
there's still a lot of times stuff can get installed.
So is there an automatic scan? Is there an automatic scan that would look for that?
So the CIS controls, the first one is an asset inventory of your software and your hardware.
Mhm.
We do those on the monthly and we look at that to see if there's been anything installed
Okay,
new. So we get a report. On the 17th, Joe installed Firefox or
Okay.
something like that. And we look at those. Yes, ma'am.
okay. Okay, visually, or can you just do a find, search and find?
At this point, we do kind of a scan, but just kind of a visual scan.
Okay,
But the software will actually tell us too when stuff is installed at the time of installation.
okay, thank you.
Good question.
So can we just clarify that I didn't hack anything? I mean, I just want to make sure that, I didn't do anything wrong here. I didn't hack the city computer system. I didn't, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I have no evidence that you did.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mayor,
You didn't hack anything that
Thank
I'm
you.
aware of.
appreciate that.
All right, a resolution.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, like you said, sometimes we use the word hack a little loosely. I mean, on Facebook, people go in and say, hey, don't become my friend or whatever, I've been hacked. Well, you haven't been hacked. Someone's got your password. They didn't hack in, they logged in.
Yeah, it's the city council meeting. I mean,
So-
I haven't that certified. I haven't certified.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we move on?
Yeah.
So the proposed increase would store,
So what we do, we have a proposal software. We send a proposal for signature, and that's where we're at right now. We'll send the proposal next week.
okay, so.
Bring it to finance and then.
Probably bring it to finance so we can discuss it, and the term would be.
1 year.
That's what I want, thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
When I started in city council, there was no backup. There was a man that would come in and repair computers off and on, but that's about all that got done. And so when Blue IT came in, they made sure that all the things that we needed to be regulated with as a city are happening now that weren't happening. So my expression to you as a council is to approve them going forward and continue with this service because it's one of the best we have in this area.
I didn't pay her.
Okay,
Yeah,
any
good
other
record.
comments or questions?
Thank you,
Thank you
Mayor.
very much, Jason. We appreciate you coming.
Bring dinner next time.
Okay,
These should not be those.
next on the agenda, water meter resolution.
Resolution number 2026-05, a resolution requesting use of reserve funds for new water meters. Whereas the water department has meters which need to be replaced due to age, and whereas the failure of these meters is increasing, and whereas both of these water department funds will still have over $200,000, and whereas the city council has control and authority to manage the finances of the city, let it be resolved that the city council of Horseshoe Bend, Arkansas directs the recorder treasurer to transfer $25,000 from the water depreciation fund and $75,000 from the water revenue bond fund to the water operations fund to be used for the purchase of 350 water meters for active replacement of water meters as they fail.
All right, so 25,000 is coming from what? The water?
Depreciation fund, and
And
75,000 from our water revenue bond fund. Typically, the water depreciation fund is used for this kind of thing, exactly what it's for, replacement of equipment that's wearing out. The revenue bond fund, I think, can be used for anything.
Right, it's no different than if you needed to paint a water tower. I mean, that's why you put money back every month for it. And I believe they put around 5,000 a month.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Okay. Any comments, suggestions? The water meter resolution 2026-05. Okay, do we have a motion to take it forward?
So moved.
One.
Okay,
Brian, set first. Jack, second. Swap it.
all right, this is moving money, so do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Yancey,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliker,
Yes.
Councilmember Turner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rains.
Yes.
Councilmember Vickers,
Yes.
Councilmember Dawson.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2026-05 is passed. Okay, airport bridge loan resolution.
Resolution number 2026-06, resolution approving a bridge loan to the Airport Commission. Whereas the Horseshoe Bend Airport Commission is anticipating awarded funds to upgrade the runway lights, resurface the runway, and build a new 50 by 50 hangar. And whereas the Airport Commission has submitted requests to the city for the funds needed to initiate and complete these improvements. And whereas upon completion of this project, the full sum loan to the Airport Commission will be repaid in full. And whereas the City Council has control and authority to manage the finances of the city, let it be resolved that the City Council of Horseshoe Bend, Arkansas approves a bridge loan to the Airport Commission. The current estimated amount of this loan is $169,100, but could vary slightly. These funds will be provided from the Capital Reserve Cash Fund. The current balance of this account is approximately $266,000.
So 266,000, and that's coming from the capital reserve.
Yeah, so it's 169,000, but that would leave a little less than 100,000 in that account, the Capital Reserve.
And has they been awarded this yet, or is this just
It's
pretense and?
probably just a
if they-
formality, but
Right.
I think officially they need our approval before they can get awarded.
Right.
So,
All right, so are we doing 169 or 266?
okay, the balance of the balance of the cash reserve fund right now is 266. We need 169,100 plus or minus a little bit.
Okay.
So 5%.
The amount of the improvements is over 3 million, if I understand.
Right.
We're getting 3 million benefit
Right.
to the airport. But our commitment is the 169. Again, that's not in concrete, but it'll be around that area.
And that's just a loan.
will come back to.
Right.
That's just a loan.
So you're asking for 169,000.
100, correct.
Okay, perfect. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? Yeah, we've done a number of these loans. All right. Do I have someone for approval of the bridge loan resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is that you? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed say the same. Resolution's been passed. Festival grant.
So for the festival grant, we needed just to discuss it at a meeting. We didn't actually have to approve it, but since we discussed it at the finance committee meeting and we did go ahead and, or I did go ahead and apply for it because there was a deadline, we figured it should at least formally approve it. So approve applying for it. So
And make a motion, we apply for the festival advertising grant.
And that grant's through White River? Where's the grant from?
it's just, yeah,
Grants from the tourism.
it's just, State Department of Tourism. We have Brian as a first.
I'll second.
Brian?
And the chamber did apply
The chamber did apply for that festival grant and we did get it, but due to COVID, we could not use it because we canceled everything due to COVID. So we had to return that money. So I don't know how long we have to wait to reapply, or if there is a time. But we had received it years in 2019.
They're actually supposed to decide by this Friday, so we'll know soon enough, so.
According to White River, the time period was long enough. I asked the question, but again, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, say the same. Okay, the motion is passed. Okay. That's for that, roofing issues.
Yeah. Okay, so here. Used to be like. And so. But.
On March 27th, I submitted a formal written notice to the mayor, city attorney, and city council regarding municipal roofing and construction expenditures involving Bluegrass Roofing Company LLC. I have yet to receive a written response, acknowledgement, and no documented council action addressing these concerns. I'm again placing these matters on the public record tonight as a matter of statutory compliance, financial accountability, and transparency. Under Arkansas Code, as mentioned by the mayor during the State of the City meeting, Arkansas Code 14-508-303, the mayor serves as a purchasing agent, but that authority is not absolute. As you will see in Exhibit 7, which I gave to the council and the mayor and city attorney, which contains our own municipal procurement ordinance, Section 30401 limits the mayor's unilateral authority to $5,000. Anything over that requires competitive bidding under Section 30402. Furthermore, Section 31601 states that bidding can only be waived by a majority of this council prior to the purchase. There is no unilateral authority to bypass these requirements. Regarding an emergency designation, if one should exist, emergency procurement is for immediate unforeseen circumstances. I'm directing your attention to Exhibit 4 that I've handed out. The contract for the library was executed in 2024. This project was not completed until March 2026. Exhibit 5 contains the insurance adjuster documentation for the same project. A multi-year construction timeline is difficult to reconcile with the statutory intent of emergency procurement. If designated as such, where is the documentation supporting an emergency designation that lasts 2 years? Second, regarding contractor licensing compliance, I spoke with Ada at Bluegrass Roofing on March 26, 2026. Please look at Exhibit 1. This is the license information provided to me. It is ID number 51368, which corresponds to residential contracting under $50,000. This was verified with Ada at Bluegrass Roofing, and I also verified with the state board. They do not hold a commercial license. They cannot do commercial work in Arkansas, period. Now look at Exhibit 6. This is single invoice for the fire station totaling $53,212.22. This single payment exceeds their residential license limit, raising a clear question. Was this municipal work properly authorized under Arkansas law? Third, regarding the Municipal Recreation Improvement District in the case of Gretz v. MRID, we have a question of financial control. Exhibit 3 contains copies of issued checks. You will see a signatory was added to the MRID bank account. Although 5 commissioners existed at the time, the name appears to be Ken Pounders. One check in this pile even lacks a required signature, although it was cashed. Under what legal authority was a new signatory added? And was it consistent with a court order or governing board action? Fourth, a FOIA request for the underlying contracts has not been produced. Absent a valid statutory exemption, this refusal is an independent compliance concern. Additionally, during the State of the City address, the mayor stated, quote, "We are paying $1,400 a month for an attorney, and he doesn't know all the municipal stuff," end quote. That statement is now a part of public record. It raises a legitimate concern regarding the city's reliance on its legal counsel while these substantial questions remain unresolved. By no means is that a dig to you, Mr. Sype. I'm just reporting what was quoted. At the last finance meeting, after I outlined concerns involving over $420,000 in expenditures detailed in the ledger provided to you as Exhibit 2, the mayor responded stating he was impressed with the theatrics. For clarity, theatrics are dramatic behaviors without substance. What I have presented tonight is documented, it is specific, and it is backed by more than just the 7 exhibits sitting in front of you. It is not performative, it is a matter of record. If raising concerns regarding licensing, bidding requirements, and financial authorization is considered theatrics, then that characterization itself deserves scrutiny. Dismissing documented concerns with a remark does not refute them. Tonight, I am providing each member of this council with this documentation, as I've done, and if anything that I've presented is inaccurate, I welcome correction on the record. If not, then this matter requires more than commentary. It requires action by each and every one of you. Thank you.
Okay, so one thing I can speak of, you said that you didn't get copies of the contract. This is actually their contract right here.
That's one contract for the library.
Well,
I have not received all of the contracts.
all the contracts were sent in the original invoices, and they were also presented when the building permits were put together.
I haven't done that either.
I don't know about that. All I'm telling you is what the company said, because I talked with Ada today and I talked with Nathan.
Did you ask them if they had a commercial license?
Yeah, I did ask them about a commercial license. And I also found out that
They don't have one.
had our building committee told them they needed a commercial license beyond the one they had,
It's commercial work.
they could have got one very easily. All they needed was a statement of financial
So the answer is
stability.
no, they don't have a commercial license.
Let him speak, please.
Yeah, can you let me finish
Let
speaking?
him finish
No, they don't
speaking.
Can
have a
you let me
commercial
finish
license.
speaking?
Don't
You have your
interrupt him.
chance to
Sure.
speak. So let me speak.
Sure.
We talked with the licensing board today. All they had to do was spend $100 filing fee, give a financial statement, put up a $10,000 bond, and they would have got a temporary commercial licensing. None of the people, including our building committee, told them that they needed anything like this when they went through the whole process of approving it. Now, I don't approve that stuff. I don't give out the building permits. Yes, I signed the contracts because I believe they were legit. And I believe that they were able to do it. And they've done business in 3 different states around here. Their reputation is spotless. So anyways, I'm just responding to what you want to respond to. Now, I also will say too, I'm not an expert when it comes to insurance, but I know how the insurance works. And I do apologize because I called the state auditing board. They did not get the report out because they don't have all of our response and information. Because in that report, it will explain to you exactly how insurance companies work and that this was actually done appropriately. And that will be in that report when it comes out. It's not out yet. They didn't get the information. Part of that was a piece of information we sent it to the wrong email address. There's another whole gap of information that has not been sent for them to do the report. But I know I've already talked with the auditor and he basically said we didn't do anything wrong. So that's just my response, but you're all welcome to look into this however you want to.
I spoke with the legislative auditor and they did not indicate that nothing was wrong.
Well, I don't know who you spoke to.
I can give you names.
I don't know who you spoke to. All I'm telling you is the auditor that I dealt with that actually did the audit for Horseshoe Bend. And the insurance money is indeed included in that. And there is a way that that's done, and it's not a bidding process, even though there is a law that says all this stuff should have been bidded. Insurance doesn't work that way.
So can you clarify where you did get Bluegrass Roofing from? Because I talked to Municipal League and I talked to the insurance adjuster and they did not advise you to use Bluegrass Roofing. They don't give those recommendations.
Bluegrass Roofing came to me from, well, it was MRID or Parks and Rec, because they had done all the work up there and they obviously passed all of our inspections. They passed the insurance company's inspections and they were happy with their work. In fact, they're still very much a
So
viable
where did
company.
MRID get their name from?
I have no idea. I know that they were with the adjuster. And I know if the adjuster tells them the amount of the roof and the contractor agrees with it, that's a binding contract for the adjuster with the person. Well, you can shake your head no all you want to, but anyways, that report will be out and you can read it for yourselves.
They can't actually release the report until they get the interrogatories back from the city and they have not received them. So I'm not sure how the
I just said
legislative
that.
auditor is gonna do that. They can't release the report if they don't have the information.
Well, I made sure they had all of ours today, so it's
It was
up to Bill
today?
with the rest of it. No, actually, where's that? When did we send that stuff? Thursday last week, maybe? Yeah,
I think at the last council meeting, you said the report was gonna be out on
it was
the 17th.
it was supposed to be out the 17th. We found out that one piece of our information had gone to a different address. And in fact, he really wanted them to go to the Arkansas, down to the city itself. We had sent the information to the adjuster. Anyways, he was gonna get them there. I can only speak for my part. That's our part. But our part is in. So the report will come out.
So can you provide the information I FOIA'd that they don't have?
I gave you, you have it.
You've not given me anything. I received information from Bill,
Well-
what he had. I'm waiting for all of the rest of it from you. Apparently you have it.
No, I don't have it. This man is charged of the finance and you know that, and he's in charge of all this.
So where's all the
This-
ID records then?
This stuff was sent,
They got burned.
we're not talking about MRID.
No.
This stuff-
No, they were burned before.
This stuff was sent, to him in November, and she has emails to prove that.
Sent to whom in November?
This man right here.
Where's the
For what
rest
reason would
of
have
it?
been sent to me in like November? Don't put me into this. I have nothing to do with this.
Okay.
There was 15 buildings, so 15 different contracts. They were all split
Well,
up.
I don't know if the Parks and Rec or the MRID stuff, I don't know whether that went to him or not. That may have gone to a lot to Charlie. And if that's true, then that's right up in the MRID or the community center, then whoever has access to those should be able to provide that. But I don't have that stuff. I don't have any of this stuff. I asked for copies of it, so I've got backup. So when I'm told it's not here, it's here.
So you do have it then? If you got
Well,
that.
she just sent it to me again today, and she sent it to him again today.
I
so
can
the
Looked
send
at
that
invoices
to you
today. I did not get anything else from her today.
This,
And we looked at all the
this-
permits. The
this
permits do not have
invoice-
the contracts on them. They have. a
this
recap.
invoice is their contract. See these two
That's not what the
signatures?
invoices look like. That's something different. That's a contract. The invoice says this is what you owe. Here it's documented, whatever. It looks like a normal invoice. That's not an invoice.
Well, she
That's
said
what she
that,
sent me.
I'm not gonna argue with you, and I don't have to.
Well, if you could.
The information is there, and she resent it, and they have proof. Ada, she's got the emails that was sent in November.
But I don't FOIA Ada. I FOIA the city.
Well, so then talk with him about
I had it, I
FOIAs.
would. I didn't sign any of these contracts. I never even saw any of the contracts. The only thing I had was a word of the contractor telling me The deal was you paid a week before the materials arrived, so I went along, I checked with you first, but we went along, I wish we hadn't written the check, but we did. But that's the only time I had any involved with this at all, it was all before my time. So,
The fact remains, we had work done by an unlicensed contractor.
Well, then I guess you should talk to the building committee and you should talk to the clerk that issued the building permits, why that was done.
Well, that would be before this council was in office. This was 2024. These contracts were entered into by you in 2024.
Beth, what's the resolution? What's the resolution?
The resolution is, we don't know if we've overpaid for these roofs. We don't have any guarantees with these roofs.
Well, you haven't overpaid for it. You paid what the insurance company would pay. How can you overpay for it?
Well, if you have your insurance company at home, if you have damage to your house and the insurance company says, hey, we'll give you $100,000 for your house, are you not going to seek out multiple contractors to see what best price that you can get? Or are you just gonna say to
No.
the contractor, hey, I've got $100,000, spend away?
No, because this is how it works. The adjuster sets the value of the roof. Now, can you put it in the paper and can you say, I want to bid this job
That's
out?
what you're supposed to
And
do.
no, because
Yes, it is.
if you get,
Ask Brad, he's sitting right there.
Brad doesn't know, and Brad said he didn't understand how insurance works, and neither did I, so
Wait
I'm,
a
not
second.
insurance.
We're talking about
Procurement.
the insurance you talked about, last time when there was, some sort of a motion by somebody, I think, Lookout to put a club in, and it was about insurance, and I told you that I was not the best person to
well,
ask
we're,
about that. But
what we're
don't let all this, what's the real question? What's the question?
the real question, from what I understand, is people don't understand how insurance works. And I'm trying to explain it, but nobody wants to accept how insurance
Insurance
works.
provides you
Don't
the
answer
money.
me
It's
if
their-
you-
haven't given you
insurance
insurance.
do, but I can help you about the bidding procedure. I
Right,
thought
and,
that was in the minutes, wasn't it? Wasn't that
Right,
in the
and
minutes?
there-
Well, I talked about that.
and there is a state law that says anything over 50,000 has to be bid. It doesn't work that way when it comes to roofs. It's a special license, it's a special thing. The adjuster sets the value. So what happens is, and the reason they don't require it to be put out for bid is the insurance adjuster says, okay, like she said, $100,000 to do your roof. If you put it out for bid and you get somebody who's foolish enough to say, well, I'll do it for 80, you don't get the 20,000. The insurance company only pays 80 then, and now you get a $20,000 less roof put on, which is why you don't do that.
That doesn't make any sense. It could be
Well,
the
it-
same exact roof. You did not bid the project.
It makes sense if you understand that the insurance company sets the value.
No, sir. You're absolutely, Brad,
Well,
you should probably.
I'm not gonna
It's
explain, I'm not gonna explain this anymore
You
until the
shouldn't be
report
explaining
comes
the
out.
law. He should be explaining the law.
But he doesn't deal with insurance like this. Have you ever done insurance like this before?
I deal with
It's not even a Brad side question.
Right, I don't think it is either. I agree.
This is not.
It's an
I've
insurance
already
question.
weighed in on this, and I want to tell everybody here, there's gonna be a legislative audit. And it's gonna go, we all know what happens with legislative audits. We know who they go to. And they're gonna go to those people, and I have full confidence in them that if there was some sort of nefarious activity, it'll be brought to light.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Can I just say something about the insurance companies? Cause I deal with them every single day with our construction business and they are all different. Every single one of them are different. You have some that wanna just deal with the homeowners. You have some that only wanna deal with us and not even the homeowners, and they're the ones that pay for it. And I'll use the grocery store for one. Their insurance company hired their own company out of Ohio who's doing every bit of the work up here at the grocery store. The insurance company, Russell didn't hire them and Dave didn't hire them. The insurance company hired this company out of Ohio to restore the grocery store. He is also asking other people like us, we're gonna be laying the floor. I don't have, a commercial license, but you can do commercial work unless it is a roof. You cannot do a roof, no matter what, if it's commercial. But if you do commercial work like the flooring, if it's under $50,000, you can do it. If it's over $50,000, you cannot do it. But every single insurance company is different. Some of them they'll have the homeowner to get them 3 bids. They will pick the bid that they want. And you have some, the homeowner can hire whoever they want. Every one of them's different and they all do it both ways.
And all of that's true, but the point that people seem to be missing here is if you get someone that will do it for $20,000 less, you do not get the extra $20,000. The insurance company then pays the price of whatever it is. No, I'm not taking your question because I know you don't understand insurance. You had said that before when
But
you
I do
stood up here and
understand
said it
bidding, and I
was.
do understand what you're saying.
Yes, I know you understand bidding, but I didn't recognize you.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I recognize you because I said Mr. Mayor. Now then, what happens, you mentioned $80,000 left. Had there been very detailed plans, specifications, again, like you're required to do, and you presented those to local contractors, and you got $80,000 less, and it meets the specs and plans that everyone was given, there's no reason not to take that $80,000.
There's not specs and plans being done here. There is an insurance adjuster that is in charge of the company sends out. He's in charge of setting a price, and when that price is set, that's the value of what it is. And I do this all the time as an appraiser myself. If I set a value, that's the value. Now, you might be able to get less, but I'm not gonna go into this. The legislative audit is doing it. When the report comes out, like Brad said, if there was a huge mistake in how the insurance money was spent, we're all gonna hear about it.
Amy, out of curiosity, as a contractor, do you know what permit you're required to have for a job? Like, are you familiar, like, if you're doing a residential job, you know you need a residential license. If you're doing a commercial job, you know you need a commercial license. That's not rocket science, right, for a contractor?
But if you went to another state, Amy, to do something, would you know what those state things are? Or would you ask the people that's giving you the building permit from the people
I
that
would
tell you?
ask.
You'd probably look up.
I would find out,
So
cause
you're
that's
not
me.
operating legally?
I'm always calling and asking. They know me personally at the state board, cause I don't wanna get in trouble for nothing.
Well, let me ask
All
you
right.
this, did you and Amberly run a golf tournament in 2024?
Amberly ran a golf tournament. Where'd she go?
But you were in a picture with the sign with your horses and,
I only contributed to a hole.
okay, but you were beside signs of Bluegrass Roofing and a lot of people.
Bluegrass Roofing paid for that tournament.
$7,500. $7,500 they sponsor for a golf tournament and then they get all these contracts in the city, I think.
They had the contracts before they ever did that tournament. They did the contracts way before that. Don't even try to put them in the category that we're talking about and that I'm looking.
$7,500 in Horseshoe Bend for a golf tournament.
They did,
Yeah, roofing.
and it was really nice for them to do it.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, it was. All right, I'm assuming the roofing thing has been beaten to death, so now we're to public comments.
Good, can I be recognized?
Sure.
Thank you. I just like, she presented a lot of information. And one of the things she presented was a check of MRID that was signed one time instead of required 2 signatures. Brad, is that not incorrect if it's on the check requiring 2 signatures, only have 1? That's a legal question I can ask you, right?
About MRID?
Yeah. Okay.
There's 2 signatures required on a check for it to be valid. There's only
They
1
paid it.
signature, but they paid it.
I never.
So that's on the bank.
No, it's
Illegal.
a legal question, that's all.
And what is that?
That the check had required 2 signatures and only had 1, but yet it
But the bank paid it, so it's on the bank.
Well, the bank had paid 1 signature checks before that Josh had signed. That's a known fact. So I'm not sure the relevance of that, but Moving on to public comments.
I have one comment, and I'm just bringing it up to the council. You guys paid or agreed to pay $7,000 for a railing to put in at the pavilion. The railing is already rusting, and I measured it, and it is 35 inches, which is minor, it's just an inch, but it's the clearance to be on state law handicap is 36 inches. The railing face plates are at 35 inches. You can measure them yourself, but you guys paid, or we did as a city, we paid $7,000 to put in a decent railing system, and it's not right.
It's not HIPAA compliant. It's only
And
35
now
inches,
it's also starting to rust.
That's what I said.
but it's still not HIPAA compliant. It has to be
ADA, not HIPAA.
ADA. You're correct. Thank you. I'm sorry. But it has to be the right measurements.
Right, the
according
woman
to
that actually
compliance.
has a missing leg that uses the wheelchair, couldn't get her wheelchair down there. She had a hell of a time trying
Oh,
to do
you
it.
can't.
We were
And did
trying to
make us
carry
complain.
boxes.
So there's the 75,000 or 7,500. Any other public comments? Just a second.
I'd like to talk to Brian, since most of our ordinances and resolutions and that so they come from you support them. I want to know why you have allowed two people that do not live in Horseshoe Bend control the library that we have in Horseshoe Bend.
Sorry. Hello, guys. Because the computers and the books and all the items inside the library or by the library board.
What about it?
They run it.
Well, if we take all the books and the,
Well, I
it's no longer a
understand,
library.
I
it's
understand
no longer a
they,
building.
I understand they house those things, but the building belongs to the city. And you have allowed people that do not live in the city to control that building. I would
So you want
venture
the
to
library to
say,
move?
pardon me,
You want the library to move?
what about it?
The library requested, the library board requested control because people were showing up when they're not on the schedule of librarian. The librarian keeps a schedule for use
I
of that extra room.
understand that.
And there was conflicts, and she doesn't want to be a policeman. So
Nobody's
therefore,
asking her to, but nobody's asking you to be one either.
yes, I am.
There are
That's-
3 people.
This council is
There-
responsible for all city finances, property, and personal property of the city. As such, this council has control of that. And we are controlling it per request of the occupant of the building, which is the library board occupies it with their computers, with
That
the person they have being a librarian.
That building was built with a conference room for the people to use.
And they can during
But we
library.
cannot use it off hours of the library, and that's the biggest hangup I have with it. I want to use that in the evening for things that I'm involved in, but I can't because you won't allow it.
Is he got the key to it? Is it locked? Do they have it? Does
They
he
changed
have
the
key
locks
to it
without telling
Where you can't
people.
get into it?
Mhm.
That's not right.
That's right, exactly. For, you know, that library can be locked, and it normally is locked after hours. But the conference room is not locked, and there's no, we can't have access to that conference room, and we'd like to use it. Do you know that single-handedly you have cut out the kids' book club that some of us were running?
Don't they
Kids were
operate?
getting free books and they were getting instruction Saturday morning, but we can't, you can't, won't allow us.
That's not library hours?
Pardon me?
That's not library hours?
No, it's beforehand. It's Saturday morning. Who wants to spend the Saturday morning and starting something at 10 o'clock when you could be there by 9 or even 8? We were generally speaking there at least a half hour
Let her
before
talk
9
now.
o'clock.
Oh, Jesus, I'm asking the question for this.
What? I'm
Just,
sorry.
was the mayor not doing the library for the kids or the book? for the
Yes, he
kids?
was helping.
All right, you're telling me the mayor does not have a key to the building?
Not anymore.
There's a key to every building or there was, and there should be, in that lockbox in there.
If he changed locks,
They
maybe he
changed
does
the
not have
locks
it.
on
I don't-
And I believe there's not a person here that would give it to him, or have it put in that building.
And it, and,
That lockbox
and
in
he
there.
did not tell people that the locks was gonna be changed either,
I
from what
think
I
it was
can
dis-
understand.
It was discussed many times.
But
Not with the
we,
people,
we still didn't have access to it.
That front room, the front doors have always been locked, always, because I maintained that building. I had to unlock that building every time to get in to work on it. Those doors have always been locked. Don't act like they've always
Yeah,
been.
the outside door, yes.
Yes,
But not the side, the conference had.
there is
had
no
locked.
other way to get into that conference room than going through the front doors.
I know that,
You're-
that's what I'm
you're-
telling
you're
you.
ar- Donnie, you're arguing
I
something
don't want to
totally
go into the
different, so-
library itself.
I know, but the breezeway, the front doors, the very first doors have always been locked since that building was built.
but he
Of course
changed
they
the
have
locks.
been locked,
He
that's,
changed
I'm not
the
disputing
locks.
that.
I'm saying they've always been locked. She's saying the front doors,
Okay,
she can
nobody
get
else
into
has
the
got the key
conference.
to it though.
The librarian does, and
Well,
sure.
The key would not open it when there was a time lock on it, a different kind of lock.
She's not allowed to give us a key either.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, they're purposely shutting down every building that people can use if they don't wanna pay $100. Purposely. Don't say you're not, because you are.
I bet that Doc Wolf and Betty Wolf would be turning in their graves if we could just if we could get this straightened out, it would be great, because then we could do things with the kids back at the library.
But he doesn't have any control over who runs the library. The library board.
No, he gave the library board the power to
Miss
do
Nancy?
whatever they want with that building.
They
And it's a
pay.
city building.
In Batesville, the White River Library Board pays people to run the library, not the building.
Miss Mincy, I can answer your question because a friend of mine or a coworker that I work with, Jackie Dinsford, said the chamber, she is now going through the chamber and doing a kids' story time and all that starting this summer at the chamber. So the chamber's taking over all that.
Well,
And no,
Do they- are
they're
they-
having it at the fire department.
are they?
And the fire
She said
department,
it was through the chamber though, so is she wrong
she is wrong. The chamber doesn't have anything to do with that.
with the story? the
Her
summertime?
and Yvette Grisham and Jackie Dinsford are taking, they have an interest in helping the children, and she's gonna do it at the fire station because
But she said she went through the chamber, so did she talk with y'all?
she talked with me, but that was with the fire department. I'm no longer with the chamber.
Okay.
why
Thank
are
you
you,
for that.
why the kids gotta go to the library when the fire department, when there is a library up there?
I don't know.
Why the kids gotta go to there, fire department?
I have no
What-
idea.
One of the advantages we're not listening to is the fact that kids were getting free books. The mayor got a grant to cover the cost of those books, and every week we were giving those kids free books
And we've done
for
that
their
for
own
years.
library at home.
When have you done that for years?
Bob Barnes initiated it years ago. He got,
Absolutely, every mayor's done that.
Yes.
Saturday. Look.
it's
Okay,
not
so
There's
when do
new.
we stop
There's
it?
no program running when I got here. There was no free giveaway program. And any reading group that the libraries have run, they haven't even been able to keep kids for a week.
I'm not gonna argue with you, but I know there's been, the mayors have done it, Bob Barnes did it.
Well,
but,
can anybody on the council or the mayor get Miss Mitzi a key so that she can have?
I don't believe any person can have a key. The mayor should have a key.
Well, he doesn't.
Well, maybe he should ask for one.
Well, since Mitzi actually made the money to make the library, she can't be trusted with a key to the outside doors, Brian? I mean, what do you expect? She's gonna steal a computer or?
And
As I said, the library board came to us.
Brian,
I was addressed by.
Brian, I'm
Wait a
sorry.
second. He addressed me, okay?
Okay.
Let me answer him first.
Okay, let him speak.
Library board came to city council and explained to us, that we were having people come off of the record that the library keeps. She puts down who's coming when to use that room.
It was every
And
Saturday.
people showed up and they were on the schedule and someone else was in that building. They wouldn't let it up. They wouldn't vacate.
Well,
And they were holding their meeting at the same time that this other group approached. It didn't happen once, it happened several times. And the librarian did not want to be a library conference room cop and try and order somebody out. She doesn't want to be in the middle of that conflict.
Well.
That's what rose up to the board and made the board come forward and wanted control. Part two, the same key that opened the front door, opened the door into the library, opened the side door into the library, and opened the back door.
No,
All the same key.
No,
No, it didn't, Brian.
no,
I had
that's
two
not
keys.
true.
That's not
Okay,
true.
okay,
No,
there was two keys, but you could go through.
It was the-
that's right, there are two keys.
Now there's one key that does the back door, side door, and the door in the library. That's what we did.
Library, is there any way that you can accommodate
Sure.
these requests? I mean, is it that easy? Are we arguing for no reason?
Have you brought the request,
O'clock on a Saturday?
have you brought the request to the library? I mean, the library's trying to control the building because they have assets there.
Well, I've been here for all the meetings, and where was the library board? Because they never came here and talked to me, and they never did it at a meeting publicly either.
Right.
You did.
Yeah.
You said there was theft even, and when I asked Charlie Milton, did he have any questions on
I
theft?
never
or-
said there was the.
Oh,
In
yes,
the
it
letter,
sure did.
in the letter from someone from the library board, they mentioned malicious mischief
Yeah.
and possibly
But it wasn't me.
theft. Well, you gave her the power to
It's
say,
all on
to write
tape.
that letter. And so you took,
Just you wrote a letter. I mean, I have strings on her and made her write it. I don't understand your point.
you don't understand. Well, obviously you don't, with all your wisdom, you don't understand my
Mitzi,
point.
Mitzi, I think you should finish saying what you want to say. We should move
Well,
on, because
Well,
you're gonna have to do another.
We've lost the influence that we had over our own building, our own city building. We've lost it now because he's given it to the library board. And there are 3 people on that board. 2 of them are out of the city, and that means they have 2/3 of the vote for anything that's accomplished or not in that building.
But wait, hold on. What time do you want to get in there? Saturday morning at 9 o'clock?
You can't make it happen, so I'm not gonna go that way.
That's right.
Yeah, they don't wanna have us in there at all anyway. They're just trying to restrict
That they
deliberately. They're not far enough.
Okay, moving on to the next topic, I
I know
guess.
it's getting late, I'll try to make this quick. The golf tournament in 2024 that Amberly and you ran, and you said Bluegrass Roofing donated for the tournament and sponsored it.
Amberly and her brother ran that, and Charlie, I believe, because it was through MRID.
Well, if you get a chance, please find out where the money went, because it was never reported, it was never put into the general ledger report of the golf course, so it never went through the gross revenue of the
Well, you
golf
should
course.
ask Amberly. She was right here.
What?
It should have been, I mean, we returned, we put the money in right away.
Why didn't you ask her when she was right here, Dan?
Because we're having a city council meeting, it wasn't time to come up and talk. All right, so I want to address this here, because I know there's some confusion with this, and this is, it's not easy to read all this. And I know a lot of people can get easily confused about it. So January 1st to April 25th of 2025, so basically first quarter of last year, the gross revenue of the golf course was $57,909.07. This year, same time period, January 1st to April 25th, gross revenue of the golf course is $85,265.12. That is an increase of 47.2%, $27,356.08. Green fees are up 71.2%. Merchandise out of the pro shop is up 600% on sales. Cart fees are up 21.3%. And I hear a lot of people saying stuff and whispering, this is not something I can make up. I can't fluff this. This goes through an independent third-party program. It's a system that they put in. These are true actual numbers. Yeah, it's a good thing. You're right. So when you're mocking the improvement of the golf course, it's kind of silly to me. We should all be on the same side, and we should be promoting. You guys are making up, anyways. Golf course fees are up cart fees are up 21.3%. Food and beverage that's sold out of the pro shop is up 133.2%. Memberships up 15.1%. And side note, range balls in 2025, we sold 225 range balls on the golf course in the first quarter, compared to 407 in 2026. Also, golf course rounds, so actual rounds between members and public rounds. In 2025, there was 911 rounds in the first quarter. In 2026, 1,654 rounds. So those are the numbers. These are factual numbers. I got several copies if people want to see it, keep it, take it. Total transparency. Yes, ma'am.
Where is all the tickets when you sell stuff? Where are all the tickets that show what you sell and how much? All the tickets, receipts. Where are the receipts when you sell something?
Correct.
All right, we won't know that.
Yes, it's all in here.
No, we won't, it needs to be public,
Okay, well, some of the problem that we're
because
having
we
with,
don't know the truth.
So you want the Golf Now ledger?
that's what this is. This tells you everything. It's all broke down.
That's not what I'm.
And we have an inventory report too that you can look at. I have no
So
problem
if you
seeing
look on what
that.
he's got, it shows you.
Yeah, it shows you
golf
everything.
balls, golf gloves,
It's
shirts.
all itemized.
I'm talking about the tickets,
She wants the
the
receipts, the
tickets,
actual receipts.
not what he's got wrote down, the tickets, like you buy something.
The receipts.
Everything that you purchase through the golf course has a point of sale system ticket. I can go back to 23 and find a ticket on whatever day you want and print that out and hand that to you.
Yeah,
And
that's what you need.
we have that.
Every time you sell like a little golf ball, that ticket needs to
We
be
have
filled out
it.
and put somewhere, and
It's-
sell.
It's in the system. It's in the computer. So whatever receipt that you want for any day, we can print it out and give it to you.
We don't know that that's true.
Well, come on up and I'll show you. I mean,
I mean, you could say, well, they bought 20 when they only bought 10.
we have an inventory
How
report.
much sense would that make? No, we're not talking about.
Basically what you're saying is that we're putting our own, am I putting my personal money in the golf course? Is that, what are you trying to say?
I was in business over 50 years. I know you got to have a receipt for every.
We have a
property
receipt
and
for
thing.
everything.
And it goes to a bookkeeper. Because that's how you file your income tax. Now, do y'all do that?
Yeah,
Does it go to the bookkeeper?
yeah, we have all that. We have all the receipts for that. Every receipt that goes through the system. And I'm gonna give a copy to you so you can have this. If you have any questions,
Miss Howard,
I'll give a copy to you just so you can have it.
Miss Howard, you're right. It used to be hard tickets, paper. It's digital now. It's going
Get
through the
one to
computer.
Carol and get
Here
one
it
to
keeps it
Ed.
all.
Sure.
Make sure you can print it out, a hard copy if you need one. But it's done digital.
When we was in business, our bookkeeper had to have a receipt
Exactly.
without
Amberly.
being a computer. And that's exactly.
Dan
what
Robinson
he does.
wants to,
On my way home, and I was watching a video, and I heard,
he wants to know what you did with all that money.
I know, Dan, why is there a question about any money, and why is it now?
Well, the golf tournament that was ran in 2024 never went to the general ledger report.
Well,
I went 2
did you ask
weeks,
your recorder treasurer?
I went 2 weeks
Did you ask your
before.
recorder treasurer?
Listen to me, let me talk. I went 2 weeks before the tournament and 4 weeks after the tournament, and it was never put into the general ledger system, which would show gross revenue of the golf course.
Did you ask your recorder treasurer? I
You
met
report
with
the treasurer
him.
then.
He was not the
I
recorder
met
treasurer.
with your recorder treasurer,
There's
and I
money
told
sitting in
him
an
about the
account.
money. I gave you a detailed budget. I told you where it was.
Why-
Remember?
He doesn't remember.
Well,
There's
why
money
would he? He
sitting
wasn't in
in-
office in 2024.
I didn't I visited him in 2025 in January. And I told him,
So when I run a tournament, I can put the money in a year later?
I don't know what you
You
did.
put it through the system.
I didn't do, I told him where the money was.
When you run a tournament, you put it in the general ledger system, so it shows gross revenue of the golf.
Why wasn't it recorded? It's his,
That's what I'm
that's what
saying.
he's asking.
Well,
I know where we have some,
I
there's a
took
tournament,
it in.
there's $1,500 in a tournament fund
What
right
are
now.
you talking about?
But
What,
he's saying, why wasn't it
You have a,
recorded?
you have a tournament.
what
fee.
money are you speaking of?
That's what I'm telling you.
Because when they bring the money in, you give it out as prizes that day.
It was the
No,
tournament
no,
that you
no, no.
did.
Yes.
This is what you do, entry fees. out of the entry fees, you pay the golf course
She's got a mess.
fee for the tournament of that day.
No,
And then-
we paid the prize money out of all the entry fees.
You're not supposed to do that.
Well, that's what we did.
Okay, well, and then you're supposed to pay out what's left over, not 100%,
We
it's
took the
95.
sponsorship money and that's what we used to pay the golf course fees.
I understand, but what I'm trying to say is this.
So what money's missing?
You never paid for the tournament.
We did. We paid $1,000 directly
It
from.
never went through the general ledger report, it never went into the golf system.
Well, because I turned it in and it got deposited.
Whatever.
However, the bookkeeping after I left.
So
I
how do
don't
you
know.
show revenue in the golf course if it doesn't go through the Golf Now 365? It doesn't.
Listen, Mary has, we deposited the cash, remember the cash thing? It was in the recorded treasurer's office, the envelope, and it got deposited with the check.
There's still. Yes,
We don't do tournaments in the
I
golf
don't need no
course.
money. I
Even
just-
even when we just had the Parks and Rec tournament. First thing we did was pay $1,500 to have a tournament.
I mean, I don't know what you're saying here. I mean,
What don't you understand? When anybody, even Parks and Rec or anybody has a tournament, you pay the golf course, the tournament fee.
but we paid the tournament fee.
Who did you pay it to? Because it did not go through.
$1,000 went directly from the sponsor because they
She
paid
would have
directly
paid
to
it
the
to
golf
Charlie,
course.
right?
Yes.
So then
And
how
then-
do you?
And then
So
the
Charlie
city,
would
and
have
then
put
the
it in the
city,
bank.
and then the city,
Would be
and
in
How
the
is that? How do you show
then
revenue
the
in the golf
city
course?
But
deposited.
it wasn't the city at that point.
I don't do golf tournaments
The
and then
city
all of a sudden
deposited it, and
run
the
up
city
to the
was
city
supposed to
hall
write
and
the
hand you
check.
guys a check and it goes to the system to show revenue of the golf course.
So how much
It-
profit is a golf course actually made this
Okay,
year?
so $1,000
How much
was paid
profit?
directly to the golf course by Bluegrass, because they were a sponsor. The rest of it came directly from the money that we deposited into the tournament account with the city.
So in 2024, the golf course,
And there was some instruction in journal entries for it to, for the $800 to go directly to the golf course. Now, if it ever got paid directly to the golf course, I don't know because I left and I told Bill that was our meeting in January. I don't know.
I'm just saying,
I may remember that.
I'm not accusing you.
There's nothing to be accused
I'm
of
not,
because nothing happened.
listen, I'm not accusing anybody taking money, I'm telling you guys, you
Yeah.
handled it wrong.
All right, can you guys
No
get,
revenue in the golf course.
You
It
guys
goes
need
to
to
the
get
system.
together. The problem.
And I can tell you
Dan?
this too. No, I can tell you
No.
this too.
enough?
No.
Can,
$1,000.
can you guys get together and talk about,
It's still $1,800 because the rest of it was deposited in the city account and it's supposed to be transferred over. And I told you about it last year that it needed to be transferred over. I told him about it. And I don't know that, I mean, I don't even work here. I don't have any ability to transfer the money myself. But it's sitting in the city account or it should.
It-
I
It
still
is,
spend.
it is.
Amberly, can you just put it in writing so that it's explained of where you put it and stuff? Because he's suggesting that it ain't wherever it is. And this guy doesn't remember where it is,
Listen,
so
Wayne, I know you like to-
if you can
I know you
come
like
out
to
with
spin
that
it.
whole thing, that would be perfect. Somebody said there was a motion to adjourn. David made the motion to adjourn. You seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
Dirty.
That's not dirty at all. You can do it.
You
don't-
directly and
You
dirty.
don't take checks.
You got-
You always think about everyone doing the right thing.
I did the right thing.